Hi everyone, welcome to group 3. I would like to introduce you to our family. We are a blended family consisting of Catherine, the mom. She's a 42-year-old real estate agent, and the father's Thomas. He's a 40-year-old Army sergeant. They have siblings. Alyssa is 15, Aaron is 12, and Jack is 8. But we also have Catherine's parents, Betsy and Philip, playing important roles as they are a close extended family. Catherine was previously divorced, and Alyssa and Aaron are from her previous marriage. And Thomas was widowed, and Jack is from his previous marriage. This baby is the couple's first child together through a natural pregnancy. During the pregnancy, we had different opinions from the family on whether, the baby would be a boy or a girl. So I'm going to go through and tell you kind of each member of our family and who they are and what they're about. Catherine, being the mom, is a dedicated mom. She loves her two girls and her stepson very much. She works as a realtor, so she can have a flexible schedule for the family. She's counting on her parents, Philip and Betsy, to help out once the baby arrives, as they live close by and are willing to help. She needs all the support she can get from her daughters, especially Alyssa, since she is the oldest. Thomas is the dad. He's very excited about having another child. After he lost his wife, he never expected to find happiness again, and becoming a father was the furthest thing from his mind. Thomas is a dedicated family man. He is currently deployed. However, he anticipates being stateside for Catherine's due date. If she has any complications or anything happens, she has to deliver early, he'll take leave and come home. He does plan on retiring from the military in a couple years and would like Catherine to be able to take a few years off. Maybe he could get a part-time job, and he really does see himself as a father figure for Alyssa and Aaron. He would love to have a biological daughter of his own. He's open to anything but kind of rooting for a girl. Sister Alyssa is 14 years old. She's in the ninth grade, and she's kind of at an age to where, she's in puberty. Her emotions are all over the place, and she's entering high school. There's a lot of drama involved in that. Little attitude here and there. She likes Thomas, and she doesn't give him too much of a hard time, but the idea of the new baby doesn't always sit really well with her. She's definitely a mama's girl and feels like she doesn't want to lose that place. Um, the other sister is Erin. She is 12 years old and in seventh grade. Her favorite things are like animals and drawing. She really, really would like another little brother. Being that she and Alyssa have a little bit of sibling rivalry, they do get along, but it would be nice to have a brother, and she would not have to worry about any rivalry with another girl in the family. Jack is an 8-year-old. He is the son of Thomas. He's in third grade. He was younger, around 5, when his mother passed away. So Jack knows Catherine isn't his birth mom, but by now, she's adopted him legally and refers to her as mom. They do keep photos of his mom in his room so that he doesn't forget her. And Jack views Alyssa and Aaron as his sisters. He knows that they have a father that they go visit like every other weekend, but he really doesn't think much about that. He has a very strong bond with his father, Thomas, but sometimes when he's deployed and he has to be the man of the house, it makes him a little uncomfortable. So he's excited and dismayed by the thoughts of another baby. He kind of likes being the baby. So we'll see how that plays out and how he does with a new baby in the house. The grandmother is Betsy, and Betsy and Philip have been married for 42 years. They're high school sweethearts. She's hoping that the new baby is a girl. I mean, she's already been knitting that pink hat for the hospital. She is thrilled about a new baby, but she, as like a lot of grandmothers are, has a lot of ideas of her own that doesn't always sit well with Catherine or Thomas. Like she believes in and formula, was like she fed all of her children. She doesn't believe in co-sleeping or allowing any technology. They're pretty strong beliefs, so they could have some difficulty with her kind of showing her viewpoints. So we'll have to see how that goes. Um, Philip is the grandfather. He can't wait for the baby to get here. He and Betsy have been so excited ever since they found out that she was expecting. He's sometimes a little concerned about Catherine's health. He just hopes that Thomas is here for delivery to help Catherine. So that's our family and the roles that they're going to play with our new baby. So during the pregnancy, we discussed prenatal care. She is 42 years old. Extra care should be taken. We had some ideas about nutrition, hydration, and stress. In nutrition, eating for two, it should be quality, not quantity. Like high quality foods with lots of iron, prenatal vitamins, additional B12 and folic acid being very important. Hydration, making sure she gets those electrolytes that are going to be key for this older woman's pregnancy. Her hormone secretion is going to be a little bit less than a 25-year-old, so that needs to be taken into consideration. And also, just being a real estate agent is sometimes a stressful job, so she needs to kind of make sure that her stress hormones do not have an adverse effect on the baby's development. As far as the birth plan goes, Catherine is 42. We feel that she should have the baby at the hospital. Due to her age and her risk of an epidural, Catherine will be having a natural birth. A C-section would only come into play if the situation needed it, if there were complications with her and the baby. We'd agreed that an induction, if it was necessary, if there was some health problems, that we could go for that, and if the baby or Catherine was at risk at all. Everything else, though, would be unplanned and decided when it occurs. So what actually happened, though, is Catherine had to have labor induced when she started having elevated blood pressure at 39 weeks. She was admitted to the local hospital and she had Pitocin. It was administered, and she did end up having a natural birth. The labor was quick once she was induced, and she delivered a healthy baby boy. So Ashton is our baby's name, and he weighed 6 pounds, 14 ounces, and he was 19 inches long. All the family was at the hospital, including Thomas, the dad, and they welcomed the baby Ashton into the world. Even Grandma Betsy was happy that she got to hold Ashton for the first time and started knitting a blue hat the very next day. So we will see how the rest of the family adjusts to the reality of a baby boy as we proceed. We talked about infant sleep. We decided that Ashton will sleep on his own in his own nursery. However, we don't believe that we should establish sleep training or implement any type of cry it out method. The different research shows that around 6 to 8 weeks, infants should begin to develop natural circadian rhythms, and that these 2 to 3 2-hour cycles are completely natural, and you let the baby sleep when they can, and by 6 months the baby's sleep patterns are way more predictable. So that is where we want to go with the sleep for the baby. We agree not to implement the cry it out method because research has shown that prompt attention to crying during the first 3 months of an infant's life will lead to less crying later, and that's what we're looking for. Many other cultures also like to implement co-sleeping in their infant sleep cycle. They do this for a lot of different reasons, like space or just that contact. It's easier on the mother sometime if she's wishing to breastfeed. It has been proven that infants that co-sleep breastfeed for longer periods of time. And so, we do see the positives of that. We think that we could implement this for Ashton, but we prefer not to co-sleep because there are some negative sides as well. The sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, can also be considered when co-sleeping, and the baby dying of suffocation. And those are things that we would prefer not to co-sleep if we cannot with baby Ashton. Feeding, we talked about this, and infants do need to be only breastfed until they are 6 months old. And of course, if it's not an option to breastfeed, then he would be given formula with additional vitamins as needed. Um, Early introduction of solid foods can be negative, so we would not do that. So once Ashton is like older, 6 months or more, then he should be able to start having some single solid foods like rice and single grain cereals. Um, so we don't want to introduce anything, any type of juice or anything until he was a toddler. Um, Anyway, we do think that breastfeeding is going to be the best choice for our baby. Catherine has started breastfeeding, and so far all is going well. She is pumping as well, so that she'll be able to take longer breaks from Ashton in the future and allow rest, and also let the rest of the family participate in the feedings. We don't believe, definitely with the technology and the baby, is something that a newborn would need at all. Definitely think it should be kept to a very minimum. Babies should not specifically watch television. However, obviously, if the television's on and there's in the room, it's okay as long as it's not excessive. The potential use of long-term electronics such as tablets and phones are unknown because they haven't been around long enough. We just absolutely do not want to use them as much as we can stay away from them. Infants and toddlers, they do learn best through interacting with verbal communication, touching with their skin. That bonding is especially important for their caregivers. So we think technology is a barrier to that information. So, due to the generation that our baby's being born, they're going to be immersed in technology. However, right now we'd like to delay that as much as possible, and they have their whole lives ahead of them to use technology. So, with all this in mind, we really do not want to introduce any screen media prior to the 18-month recommended time, except for possibly some video chatting. Given the dynamics of this family and the military service, the Army that Thomas is in, video chatting might be a vital tool to keep the father-child connected. But because we are a blended family, measures will have to be taken to prevent unintentional screen time usage because we have a lot of other kids in the house as well. So that's something we have to be very cognizant of. Thank you for listening to our family. It was nice introducing ourselves to you, and we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.